Hypothetically, let's say I've been maintaining a spreadsheet of the top posts on r/Asmongold every day for the last month. Hypothetically, of course, because no one sane would ever actually do this. But let's say, hypothetically, I did do it because I've been particularly curious about the rapidly expanding cesspool of hate in broader gaming communities and content creation since around, 2014, just picking that number off the top of my head for no reason, don't worry about it at all. I picked this subreddit as my testing ground because not only is it a very, very large gaming space, but I gotta say that having highly upvoted neo-Nazi propaganda on the subreddit makes it a very, very enticing option to look at.
What's the problem with xenophobic nationalism? Don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
To be xenophobic,
yes.
nationalism is better.
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which, do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture.
What is
based
the dominant
on
culture?
European and Christian values and identity.
Are the things that I see randomly pop up on Our Popular really that bad, or were these just outliers? Spoilers, that shit's actually pretty bad. First, look at my very cute house mug that I painted. Amazing. And second, I was originally going to spend 3 months documenting this for a larger data set, but around day 20, I decided to start hating being alive, so I cut that short for my own well-being. And holy guacamole, if my mental state cratered that bad as an outsider sightseeing my way through their swamp for a few weeks, I can't imagine what it must feel like to be here and in other places all of the time. Constantly wallowing in the torrent of malice like that part of gamer YouTube whose entire existence is predicated on having an audience too lazy to fact check anything that they say. Did you know that exposure to hate speech literally deteriorates pieces of your brain? Like, it's no wonder I got the urge to do an Elon by day 10. I just don't really understand why people would hang out here instead of like playing Repo with their friends.
They get in the toilet.
Oh?
Now get small.
Oh! No!
Well.
I had it. Oh my.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sponsored by Repo, but I can be. And look, if there are any Asmongold lurkers here, I'd love it if you leave a slur in my comment section for the engagement. I really miss getting slurs. I'm getting way too many nice comments recently. Now come with me as we go down this great journey to determine if certain gaming communities really are all just self-perpetuating hate machines, or maybe it's just not that bad and I've gotten a rather paltry first impression. Fuck.
Hey, you found a treasure.
Is there room for one more? Oh,
No.
fuck. No.
Friendly reminder here that I'm not a data scientist or a numbers guy, just someone with very poor decision-making skills and access to Google Sheets. The organization is very simple. I focused on some traits I thought would be the most relevant to my search at hand. I just messed around for a couple days, changing some things as I went until voila! I saw patterns and repetitions and I landed on this beautiful, beautiful masterpiece that we see here, which you can check out in the description. Please, be careful. It's nasty in there. Obviously, since hate was what I was looking for, I have a checkbox for if a post is hating something. Obviously, we gotta break down the hate by flavor, so we got a column to point out some obias and isms. I'm very proud of that name, by the way, because it lets me include game journalism and fascism, but not the disliking it kind of way.
What is
Based
the
on
dominant culture?
European and Christian values and identity.
I also noticed a bunch of scapegoats or dog whistle type beats showing up every now and then, whatever you want to call them, which are basically just repeated signals, phrases, or vibes largely attached to coping. For example, here we got the good old East and West complaining about women. In this one, we got some straight up White Lives Matter energy because people are mad that they cast a black dude as Snape in the new Harry Potter show. I don't think anything could make me care about that. Also, they're just straight up posting far-right propaganda accounts, which happens a lot more frequently than you might think. Or not think. I'm sure many of you recognize End Wokeness and Libs of TikTok, but AF News is an openly anti-Semitic right-wing news outlet, as they illustrate on their website. Definitely a reliable source on trans stuff. Very, very cool. I also have a conspiracy checkbox for definitely unrelated reasons. Outside of that, I got pretty basic stuff like the date it was posted, the link to the post, and the upvote count, of course. I also have the political leaning of said posts in a very simple number of categories based on what I saw to be most common. Most of these should be relatively self-explanatory, but slop is a general catch-all for outliers, really. Some examples of this include a post about somebody being mad that an AI wouldn't acknowledge that Roman emperors weren't all white, which is objectively true, by the way. Or this perfectly nice post shouting out the badassery that is Christopher Lee. Rip King. I also have the very special just hating category, which is when it's a post made to just hate on something. Usually minorities, women, or leftism. Like this one, or this one, they also hate fat people, or this one, hating diversity, or this one, just projecting. Because Twitter is Twitter for pedophiles. And because I'm a charitable person, I also included a nice category, which is when it's just a post about something nice, something positive, not at the expense of something else, like the Christopher Lee one. And I'm sure you'll be very surprised to know that out of the over 200 of these, I found 7. 3%. Shocker. 47% were right-leaning, 27% were doing a centrism, usually in favor of the right-wing stuff. 29% were politically neutral, and a big, fat goose egg for left-leaning sentiment. Wowzers. Shocker. Color me surprised. I also have fun little breakdowns, like politics counting for 45% of all content, followed by just hating at a whopping 21%. I'm honestly a little shocked that games is only at 16%, but hey, gotta go where the money is these days, right? At least one obia or ism was present in about 69%, nice, of posts, with racism, sexism, and transphobia being the most popular. Scapegoats were in about 79% of the posts, with leftism being the top at a whopping 40% presence. Shout out leftism, let's go. And the number we have all not been waiting for, because I showed it at the beginning, is nearly 90% of posts were hating on something. 3%. 3%, a measly 7 were nice. God damn, dude, that's rough. That study about exposure to hate reducing empathy has to be true, because that is the only possible reason why so many people are glazing Elon and the Tesla stuff. Thank God these brave soldiers are standing up for the fraud billionaire as people rightfully protest him fucking up the country. Our poor billionaires get so much unjust hate. If Tesla dealerships aren't supposed to be burned, why are they burning shaped? Now look, I'm gonna be one of those 27% of people and do a centrism here and just for a second say, isn't being around this much hate just like awful, regardless of what it's at? Let's pretend for a minute they aren't doing their best to mimic our conservative. Let's pretend every post actually is about games. And let's say, even if this place was hating games and game culture for reasons unrelated to easily disprovable Gamergate era narratives like ethics in games journalism and forced diversity made to take advantage of white masculine nerd culture's latent insecurities due to late stage capitalism in order to have a plausible cover to force women and minorities out of gaming spaces because of politically unaware gamers are slaves to the market forces and the status quo because it validates their existence without needing them to change themselves. Wouldn't it still be ass to see people hating on things all the time? Hi there, I'm a different Noah. You can tell because my legs are crossed a different way. I'm just popping in real quick to say that some people might say that Gamergate is about ethics in games journalism. This is a lie. A lie that some people might not know is a lie and feel legitimately concerned about, but it is a lie nonetheless. Gamergate is a very verifiable hate campaign started by 4chan losers against women and minorities in gaming spaces, primarily focused on 3 very unfairly targeted women, in which people tried to ruin their lives. Ethics in games journalism is a cover-up created by the main agitators to reframe their desire to destroy these women's lives into something more palatable for the average nerdy guy in 2014. This is very well documented, and you can see the evolution through the original Burgers and Fries IRC chat that they planned things in which one of the 3 women they were harassing got into and leaked. Very funny. Don't believe that the harassment was truly that bad? Well, one of them posted a week's worth of harassment from just Twitter, not including other places by the way, on their blog one time. You want to see it? Very cool. Wow, that was fucking awful. Imagine that every week for years of your life. However, some people can't or refuse to because they see it as something done by just a few bad actors in an otherwise just movement, or that's just what being online is like. And this is Cope. Anyways, if you want to know more, I've linked well-documented sources below because Google search is fucked. And it's easier than ever to see misinformation in search results. Boy, I wonder if this is gonna come up again in the future of this video.
No, it's in the freezer.
They put me in the freezer because I'm so cool.
And I'm not the only one saying this kind of environment sucks big balls, by the way. Along the way, I found numerous posts on the Asmongold subreddit of people saying that sucks now because the dude spends all his time barfing out empty, stupid opinions on politics he doesn't know anything about. And as such, the subreddit has morphed and attracted very active, agitated people like this guy I found who spends all his time posting on Asmongold and very other normal subreddits. I also found another post in the other direction that said the subreddit is feeding into Asmongold the other way around. But my personal theory is that it's one shitty feedback loop, with the only ones winning being the agitators and the guy with not a single care in the world outside of lining his pockets. Man, I wish when people just didn't feel the need to post all of their opinions online, like, man, those were the days when we just didn't need to have a care in the world and the only thing we really wanted was some uppies.
Can I pick you up? I wish I could pick you up.
You can. Here.
Puppies.
Uppies.
Puppies?
Uppies?
Uppies! Uppies! I rotate you. I rotate.
Oh my god, this is very disorienting.
If you subscribe, I will personally come to your house and give you uppies. And things are changing over time in the sub, by the way. I have actively noticed sentiment adjust over time on similar flavors of posts. Like, remember this one I showed in the beginning? Obvious bait. Comments are shredding it, agreeing that it's obvious bait. However, this post, pretty wide agreement. Kinda scary, kinda scary. A result of this increase in radicalization over time is that some people who actually have a limit for this stuff and, you know, would rather just hate on women and fat people are gonna leave. But some will get even more radicalized until it's nothing but people who make active Nazi dog whistle posts. Hello, what the fuck is this? But fret not, they're very consistent about hating women and minorities over time. Gotta love it. To keep my enlightened centrism going here, I might ideologically be on the side of someplace like r/gaming circle jerk, which exists to mock capital G gamers, but even being there just feels like an exercise in making me feel better than the capital G gamers, even though I obviously know that I am already. And even ironic exposure to stuff like this just like makes my little brain hurt. I do want to be crystal clear here though and say that the side that is posting bootlicking, racist, transphobic, right-wing hate speech is objectively worse by every metric than the side mocking the side posting bootlicking, racist, transphobic, right-wing hate speech. But But I do not know how much more productive it is. I do not want my experience defined by only hating people whose existence is defined by hating people. I'm a complex person who just wants uppies.
Uppies! Uppies!
Existing in spaces and posting things like this all the time, it is not fun, it is not productive, and sure, it might be funny sometimes, but it's not gonna get me any tall all women. That last part turns out to be wrong. I'm gonna start hating so fucking fast. Awareness of shitty rhetoric and dog whistles is very important, mind you, but let's not pretend that making memes is activism, all right? Please, go volunteer, go distribute food, do something for your community, be a human being. People in these types of environments feel stuck in the hate machine, largely shadowboxing what the agitators tell them to be angry at, even if the reality is something else, because not going along with what's being hated on means you are open to get hated on. It's some serious in-group, out-group shit. I mean, look at the rhetoric. It is literally everywhere. These people this, these people that, more like these nuts. I genuinely believe that a lot of the guys in these communities are perfectly normal dudes in real life who have just been poisoned by the bad apples that are trying to radicalize their communities, not realizing that they're being played like small misogynistic fiddles by people who make money off of them performing the mental gymnastics of it being women and minorities and not capitalism ruining video games and media. And this was going to be the end of my spreadsheet saga. But as if God himself moved the universe in my favor, I got the opportunity to put that belief of mine to the test.
But they were
That's
perfectly
boring.
civil guys. It's just very much like they're young men who are lost in a cesspool
Yeah.
of misinformation.
Do you think you changed any of their mind?
I don't think so, but I want to keep talking to them to hopefully slowly de-radicalize them. That's kind of my
Can
Good,
you
good, good.
teach them how to mix their audio? Because it was causing me physical pain.
I'm just kidding. Some up-and-coming reactionaries reacted to one of my old shitty videos about the whole Sweet Baby Ink thing. You can go watch it if you want because I linked it in the description, but it was really just a whole lot of the same old "these people are wrong" in between frequent bursts of stuff like
Stop my guy, please.
and then
Because Muda may not be perfect, but he is like amazing compared to this idiot. Oh my god, it is so refreshing to hear from an actual good YouTuber.
Yep.
I am hurt and crushed. However, being the virtuous messiah-like creature that I am, I saw this as an opportunity. So I reached out, and to my surprise, they reached back. We hopped on a call and had a discussion, which, instead of being like this, it was actually like this.
I just want to say that I think it was good talk to you. You have a good day, man. If you ever want to participate in any of its videos yourself, it might be too late on your end, but we'd gladly have you on.
Very curious, isn't it? Well, to be honest, not really. Because if I'm being real with you, I figured there would probably be a 90% chance of this happening because realistically, outside of the agitators, most of the people who talk like this are just normal dudes who become enraged by the fictional version of these people online. However, when they are isolated from that and actually talk to one of these people, they're perfectly civil. Much like a large majority of the dudes in our Asmongold, I'd wager, these strapping young lads that I spoke to were perfectly nice, just woefully drowning in the hate machine. If I'm being honest, probably their biggest sin is not linking anything in the description to the stuff they're reacting at. Come on, boys, that's basic courtesy. But you know what? This is an educational opportunity. Why don't I show you one of the ways that people fall into this hate machine? Does that sound like fun? No? Too bad, we're doing it anyways. One of the things that they didn't really like at all that I did for my video was I cited an article covering the whole Sweet Baby Ink Gamergate 2.0 debacle last year, and it was written by a Alyssa Mercante.
And of course, it was made by Alyssa Mercante.
Mercant,
Oh my
yeah.
God. I could go on a whole friggin' tirade about how awful Alyssa Mercante is. I don't, again, this is an article from Alyssa Mercante.
Yes.
This on his like, oh, read the article. Why? It's like so dishonest. It's like listening. It's like
It's a
basically like
fucking
the
puff
equivalent of,
piece, my guy.
Yes.
Do you know who that is? You shouldn't, because that means you'll be a normal, well-adjusted person. I mean, from how they talk about her, she sounds pretty bad, right? Like, immediately discounting the article just because her name is on it. Like, that's definitely not a little suspicious. Before this video, honest to God, I didn't really know much about her other than I liked a couple of her articles on diversity stuff. Seems cool. I like that. Poggers. Very neat. So, in the earnest of trying to be fair and balanced, I tried to learn about her and why they hate her so much. And in the process of doing that, I got the best example I possibly could of how this hate machine works. Baba booey. Where to begin my great quest? Why don't we start with YouTube, shall we? What do we have here? Let's see, she was fired from Kotaku. Let's see, ooh, she's attacking some guy's family? I wonder who this is. Very curious. Let's see, ooh, she's in a lawsuit? Boy, this sure is a lot to take in. And it sure seems like my YouTube senses are tingling and every video here appears to be rage bait coded. My search is neutral. Very curious, very curious. In fact, I just ran the numbers here. Out of the 41 videos in this screenshot of my search, 4 of them were not rage bait stuff, counting one video from her channel. And the most interesting part is that 22 of these 41 videos, over half, were from the same guy. Boy, I wonder if he's important. Okay, maybe YouTube is a little suspicious, so let's check out Google. Let's see, we got some pretty standard stuff here at the top. Then we got, oh, this video again. Man, this guy sure seems to talk about her a lot. Damn, there's that lawsuit again. That must be pretty important. Let's see, curious that Google is pulling from this guy's article on her work history. Man, he just really keeps showing up, huh? Okay. Now we actually got some of her work. Whatever, that's fine. Let's see, second page, almost all spam links from weird sites and blogs. Sure. Okay, you know what, fine. Enough of this, let's actually check out a video, shall we?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Alyssa Mercante thought it was going to be a good idea to go on David Jaffe's live stream and proceed to talk for hours on end about anything but the lawsuit, except for while they're talking, many of the things they discuss were directly related to said lawsuit.
What I did, because I did briefly do cam work, just like digitally stripping.
And I gotta be honest, she's even dumber than I gave her credit for.
Wowzers. That was just the little intro, by the way. Okay, even though I don't know anything about it, first off, if you're in a lawsuit, you're generally not supposed to talk about it, so like, I don't really understand what he's upset about in terms of that. But how did that clip of her saying that she used to cam matter? Man, this is really confusing. I wish I could just read like the whole lawsuit and whatever that was about. Oh wait, I actually can, because every lawsuit is public record. And you know what? Because I'm mentally unwell, I did. I read the whole thing. And I suggest you do too, because the lawsuit is her suing him for damages to reputation and harassment. Because he said, knowing it was a lie, she sucked dicks for money. He claimed she said this. He never, ever, ever provided a source. Very normal. Before it got to this part, by the way, she even sent him a cease and desist to have him detract the statement so they wouldn't have to deal with this. But he didn't. But wait, there's more, because the lawsuit has an entire section for just harassment. Remember that screenshot I showed earlier where half of the videos were from him? That isn't even half of them. There's also a whole lot of tweets, a whole lot of blog posts, a whole lot of videos, most of which involve her doing something completely unrelated to him, and then him just kind of inserting himself for some reason, which he kept doing after she blocked him, which eventually led to her personal info being doxed on Kiwi Farms, in which him and others openly mocked when it happened. Very cool. Please, somebody tell me how any of this is related to ethics in games journalism, to quote his own words. Man, I wonder where he heard that one. Because I actually like to do my research here, I started to check out the rest of these videos and do a little fact checking of my own here. First one, this is a lie. A completely unverifiable conspiratorial take that was never even close to true. Second one, also a lie and falsely framed. He made a shitty tweet on an article she posted and then she clapped back. 3, also a lie. Remember that clip before?
What I did, because I did briefly do cam work, just like digitally stripping.
A, camming is not prostitution. And B, he made that claim before she said this in this clip. What the fuck? 4, different guy, but this video is basically just like a summary of all of the hot talking points around her that are just incorrect, so like useless. In this one, the framing of this title is very, very funny because he is trying to move to have the case dismissed. This is literally nothing he's trying to frame against her somehow. It's pure bait. 6, this is just empty commentary on her lamenting the downfall of legacy media and replacing it with shitty blogs, like the one he's on. This one is about Destiny tweeting about Alyssa being down bad for Asan. But like, who isn't? Also, how is this news? How is any of this article worthy? Why does he keep doing this? Like, this is so weird. Like I don't know what's going on here. Anybody who's watching this, fellas, if you're watching this, please, what am I missing? What are you seeing that I'm not? Please tell me why you and so many others seem to hate this person, because I'm just not seeing it. Like, what am I missing? The only thing I'm seeing here is a bunch of losers continually injecting themselves into nothing that has to do with them, lying about something, or both. Ethics in games journalism. Also, this guy keeps a very normal list of gaming journalists he thinks are bad on his website, and conveniently, most of them are women, people of color, LGBT, or Jewish. Ethics in games journalism. Okay, that was a lot. I apologize for all that. Just to lighten the mood, here's a clip of me getting murdered in Repo.
Oh, baby.
It's fine. He probably.
Oh.
Oh, hello. Oh, wow. This is unfortunate for me.
1 subscribe equals 1 prayer for me. Who wants to learn a fun new term? Oh boy, so exciting. First off, what you saw when I searched YouTube and Google is an example of a data void. Unfortunately, it's not nearly as cool as the name suggests, and actually quite terrible. There are a handful of different ways that these work, but this instance is when people create new terms or build strategically optimized information ecosystems around them before those terms become mainstream and open to more credible sources, if ever. In this instance, what that means is if people like this decide to abuse SEO and search terms around her name, they can fill this data void that doesn't have anything in it with whatever they want. So new people who search for her name will only find one-sided spam like this. Funny how the both sides crowd always seems to be pretty quiet with things like this, Like, let's be real here. How is a newly birthed gamer supposed to break through this wall of information, And then when there's actually the rare legitimate example of counter arguments, oops, just kidding, it's Kotaku. And also, games journalism as a whole is bad, and also the people who are writing these arguments are bad and are liars and are activists and bad. Can't trust them. No, sir. I'll believe a source that you show me, but only if it's one that I like.
Like, oh, read the article. Why? It's like so dishonest.
That's how this hate machine works. It's how Gamergate worked. It's how the Sweet Baby Inc. thing worked. It's how our Asmongold worked. It's how the Alyssa thing is working right now. I want to reiterate again, most people don't know all of this because they're normal. Most people just want to be all happy-go-lucky and play their little games because politics is bad, remember? But most people also realize it's real hard to do that because the world is kind of on fire right now. And so we look for answers. But we are fickle creatures who care more about belonging and comfort than the truth. DEI, forced diversity, ethics in games journalism are not real problems in any way that they describe, but they are real concerns to them, to these people. That anger is authentic. It's real to a lot of people on Asmongold. It's real to the boys. It's real to the people who hang out in the weird YouTube areas comment section. But so much of the origin of all this stuff is obscured and propagandized and works so well at taking advantage of existing insecurities. And they get hooked into it because it's so easy to believe something that makes your feely wheelies feel nice. It also makes framing obvious hate campaigns that way easier to justify harassment of someone. I don't hate them because they're a woman, because they're black or gay. I hate them because they're ruining my video games. They are invaders in a space they have never been in. And it's fine for them to be there. It's fine for them to be here as long as I don't have to interact with them. As long as they pretend to be like me. That's how the machine works, baby. One day, you're just scrolling Reddit, and then the next, you're fully in an in-group, out-group mentality, upvoting neo-Nazi propaganda on a streamer's subreddit, and have a media diet of slop videos that man-children spew out because it's monetarily beneficial for them to poison the minds of otherwise normal little boys on the internet. In talking to these gentlemen, I got my proof. I knew this was how things were 10 years ago when Gamergate happened, but I guess on some level it's comforting to know that things work the same way. I don't know, maybe it's not. I'm not going to pretend that I know how to solve this great divide, but just having conversations with other people instead of shadowboxing fictional versions of them in your head really does go a long way. I mean, shit, after talking to the boys, I got called the first left-leaning person they talked to who isn't crazy. But honestly, it's probably because they haven't talked to many. Or they're talking to, young high school level lefties who are just as brain damaged as the young alt-righters. Making a Blue Sky account is not activism. Shut the fuck up. We're all just dumb idiots trying to figure shit out. And the internet makes it so much harder, which is why you should not be on it nearly as much. Boys, Asmongold watchers, slop enjoyers, please let these agitators choke to death on their own drama. Let them drown into obscurity. Please. Stop making content, just hating on people online and yelling into your camera.
The Andor Season 2 trailer is here. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of Andor Season 1.
Yeah, of course you are, you fucking Disney shill. You fucking consumer, you fucking jackass who sits on his ass and just accepts fucking everything that gets shoved in front of your face because that's a Star Wars name on it, you low standard, low IQ loser.
I'm serious, brother. This isn't healthy. I wish we lived in an environment that wasn't run by algorithms that loves drama and hate. Like, I really wish I was less confident that a drama video like this one is gonna do better than the ones I pour my soul into talking about stuff I love. But unfortunately, Mark Zuckerberg can suck my fucking ass. Please do better things with your internet time. Please watch better things. Please make stuff about things you love. Please stop just hating on bullshit. Hate is not criticism. Play the Talos principle. Capri Sun, please sponsor me. Also, Repo, please sponsor me. Your game is very, very fun. My friends and I like it a lot. And we also think it would be extremely cool if you could add little butts onto the robots. That would be very funny. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
What are you using it for? Are you going to put it in a video?
Am I gonna be internet
Gonna
famous?
be on a Crimes New Romance?
Yes, I'll everybody say hello for your fun video where I'm about to slander you for an hour and a half.
I'm gonna say a slur.
Do it. Say a slur.
Yeah.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
Absolutely not.
Do it.
Absolutely not.